In this week's episode of Space Dandy, the leading ladies of the series, Honey and Scarlet, get to strut their stuff. But first, a word from our sponsors. You get it. Your ass is a major part of your life, and it deserves the same level of respect as the rest of you. And after a long day of mud wrestling and grandma's chocolate pudding, you want to feel fresh. And you can, with One Wipe Charlie's. I'd also highly recommend checking out their high-quality razor blades, which can also be shipped directly to you. You can find a link for them in our description box below at dollarshaveclub.com/SKG. And make sure to check out the One Wipe Charlie's. With their peppermint scent, they'll make your ass smell like Christmas morning. There are a ton of great moments from the Space Dandy anime series. It's almost impossible to do like a top 10 favorite moments because every episode has multiple ones. But I gotta say, after seeing Scarlet powerbomb Dr. Gel this week, I'm completely sold on anything that Space Dandy is going to do at this point. This week's episode was a lot of fun, and ironically, it was probably one of the most subdued stories of the entire series. But what I loved a lot about it is that it actually focused on some of the side characters of the series, like Honey and Scarlet and Dr. Gel. And there were a lot of funny interactions between them. But the main story this week is that Dandy and his crew have not had any work for months, and they're literally on the brink of starvation. So they'll do whatever it takes to get some food. So they go to this one planet that's having this space mixer where apparently women can eat for free. And somehow they manage to get into this place and they pass themselves off as women, and they don't even dress up. They just say that their features are, well, not up to snuff. At the exact same time, Scarlet is also here with her large cat Amazonian friend, and she's trying to either A, pick up a date, or B, stuff her face and get as drunk as humanly possible, and she seems to be going with the latter. That is until she runs into this very noble alien known as a Cloudian, and he's the alien that Dandy and his crew are going to be looking for this week, and Cloudians look like normal people aside from their very strange ears, and apparently they have the ability to literally physically create clouds, which they can use to store things, whether it be physical objects, actual data, or even create massive flying cloud spaceships. It's kind of ridiculous. But here's where the main premise comes in. Dandy's going to have to try and catch this alien, but he's also going to have to deal with a little bit of heat from Scarlet. But what really makes this episode incredible is that Honey is featured a lot this week. In fact, the episode actually opens up with her hanging out at a wrestling match, jumping on her big hog, and riding through the desert. It's hilarious, and it actually says a lot about her character, who's an incredible free spirit. But eventually she is captured by Dr. Gel, and that's when they're going to actually use her to try and get Dandy throughout the course of the episode. And what's really funny is throughout the whole thing, Honey is just going along with everything Dr. Gel is saying, and it seems like she's pretty compliant with all of this. However, eventually at the very end of the episode, when she finally sees her chance to escape, she immediately just decks him right in the face and does this badass wrestling powerbomb move, which again is a callback to what was seen at the beginning of the episode, and it's just so awesome and very funny. Dr. Gel doesn't even know what to think of this situation, and then this all leads to a whole nother subplot where Dandy, Meow, and QT end up going after Scarlet, and they meet the Cloudian, and they look like they're going to have like a duel of sorts. That is until Dr. Gel and them get involved. But what's really funny about this scene, and it's something that was bugging me throughout the entire thing, is that throughout the whole episode, whenever there was like a joke or something said, you would hear this laugh track in the background, like something out of a sitcom. And towards the end of the episode, finally Dandy's like, alright, what's going on? Have I been hearing laughing lately? And apparently this one noble, like, Cloudian has these two ambiance aliens, which literally set the mood of what's ever going on. And it sets up a lot of really funny jokes. Not only that, but the humor this week was just on point. Not to mention, the animation was gorgeous. So, what's the rundown on this week's episode of Space Dandy? Another really good episode, which at first seems really simple, but there's a lot of elements that make this episode work. The humor is great. I love how immediately as the episode is beginning, you start to hear the laugh track, and you're like, what's the deal with that? Why aren't they even bringing that up yet? And it actually becomes a part of the plot later on. Honey and Scarlet being featured is great, and I'm glad that they just weren't turned into, like, a pairing wars type of thing, like who's gonna be with Dandy? What's this love story gonna end up being? They totally avoid all of that stuff, especially at the end of the episode. It just sort of fades to black and everybody's happy. What's really important about this episode, though, is that you actually get to learn about some of the other characters, in particular Honey. Apparently she's half alien. She's actually half Cloudian, and that noble Cloudian is actually her half-brother. And, you know, it doesn't really change anything about her. She doesn't really, like, have any crazy abilities. But it is interesting to know. It really shows that, you know, you don't really know anything about anybody until you get to learn about their weird alien backstories. And, you know, they didn't really do anything with that. Maybe that has something to do with her badass fighting skills. Or maybe she is just badass in general. Other things this week, I loved Meow this week. He had a lot of really funny scenes, whether it be just gawking at the gentleman's castle, when he was just pigging out at the buffet, and just when he was getting completely shit-faced with Scarlet when everybody else was going off on this crazy big space adventure. The animation was gorgeous this week, whether it be the big massive space battles at the very end of the episode, or just the subtle changes when the Cloudian is having his little date with Scarlet, and his emotions will actually affect the weather going on around them. That combined with the music made that scene incredibly atmospheric. And just like the rest of the series, it was just gorgeous in terms of animation and artwork, all the crazy aliens in the background as they usually are. I'm sure there's a million cameos in this one. The hilarity of seeing them on the brink of starvation at the beginning of the episode was great because they were basically all skin and bones. And Meow broke the fourth wall big time at the beginning because he mentioned that he's even more of a zombie when he was actually a zombie in the earlier episodes. So just, this series can do whatever it wants, and I continue to love it for that. This is just a really fun anime for the sake of anime. And this is one of those episodes where when I first started watching it, I actually didn't care for it too much. But as the episode was going on, I was really starting to dig it. It was a little slow in some parts, but the animation and the story was hilarious. And this is the type of episode that if you've been following Space Dandy, you need to check out, because you'll get to see all of the other characters do some really cool things. So I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 this week. I just freaking loved it. They need to release this series on Blu-ray now. Funimation, please get on that. I will be first in line to pick it up. So check it out, guys. 9 out of 10, dandy stuff. Thank you guys for watching my review today. Before you leave, make sure to hit that like button so you can give this video a thumbs up. It really helps us out a lot. And please tell me what you thought about this week's episode of Space Dandy. Did you guys have any favorite moments, any favorite character scenes, and what do you want to see from the rest of the series? And make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And you can also check us out on Facebook and on Twitter. I'll put links for those in the description box below.
Do you like Amazon.com? I know I do. Corey and I now have an Amazon link in our video description box below. And if you go to it and buy anything through Amazon.com, it will support our channel. So bookmark that link, make it happen, and support our channel without having to do a damn thing.
Another great way you guys can help support our channel is by donating directly through our PayPal link in the description box below. We recommend $2 a month, although this is completely optional. But the best way to go about this is by sneaking into your mom's room and taking $2. This way, she won't even notice. And we won't have to shake you up for all of your lunch money. So guys, that concludes this review today. Super Kami Guru 9000. Out.